gang. I have a fascination with all things history, mystery, conspiracy, and paranormal. I love doing deep dives on topics that I often stumble upon surely by chance, and I love to tell tales. So, welcome to Sit and Spin. I will tell you a tale as I spin using different fibers and methods. You can spin along or just watch and listen. I know I have been promising MK Ultra, but sometimes life happens. The second anniversary of my husband's death was just recently. I thought I was doing all right, but with the change of the seasons, I'm not. And then my entire research file on MK Ultra disappeared. So in frustration, I have decided to just wait another week so that I can do the topic the proper justice it deserves. So what we'll do this week is we're going to talk about some sheep people, some of my favorite things. We're going to be chain plying some yarns I've spun using my Wool Interrupted fiber box of the month for October. So we have the Corriedale in Cloudy Paradise Storm, which I spun a 2-ply, and the Merino in the color blue. That's a creative title. Yeah, I know. So I spun a 2-ply of this, 2-ply of this. Then I spun them together. I'm going to make a Andean plying bracelet. I am going to attempt to get them to cable. It didn't work with the 2-plies, but I was having good luck when I did it back again. So we're going to give that another shot. There will be a bit of a cabling video yesterday when I review the October Fiber of the Month Club from Wool Interrupted. I'll put a link below. By the way, do you like my earrings? Hold on. There we go. Are those adorable? Those are made by a very good friend of mine called Made by Gia. I'm going to link her site below too, so you can go check them out. They're kitty cats. In case you couldn't tell, I'm a crazy cat lady. All right, so we're going to reset to the wheel, and we are going to talk about, first of all, Robert Bakewell. I'll give you his history and how he's important to us fiber enthusiasts. I'm going to start by making an Andean plying bracelet to work on my cabled yarn. I'm just making a slip knot to go around my thumb. All right. Let's talk about the father of modern breeding practices for not just sheep, but cattle too. Picture it. Dishley, Leicestershire, England. A baby boy is born to a farmer. A boy who is destined to change the future of animal husbandry forever. Of course, they didn't know that then, but Robert Bakewell had revolutionary ideas. As a young man, he traveled through Europe to see what everyone was doing, learning agricultural techniques and basically figuring out how he could change them for the better. When he returned home, he went to work on his dad's farm as an apprentice and had further crazy thoughts on what he wanted to do. See, in the 1700s, which is when he lived, inbreeding was frowned upon. People knew if you inbred animals, eventually the bloodline would become weak and sickly, so they tried to avoid it. They would breed their animals to neighbors' animals, but since no one actually tracked the crossbreeding, there was still some inbreeding going on. But because of all of this, Robert theorized that selective inbreeding could actually improve an animal. In 1760, he had inherited the farm from his father when his father died. He was only 35 at the time, Robert, not his father, and he began his plan. He took his flock of Lincolnshire sheep and he separated the boys from the girls, so he had control of who was being bred to whom. He kept accurate records of the babies so he could actually select the traits that he wanted to keep. Using an in method of breeding, desired traits were exaggerated by inbreeding, and individuals with undesirable traits were culled out of the breeding population altogether, likely heading to the meat market. Wah, wah, wah. You wouldn't want to be one of those sheep. He also started the large-scale use of letting or renting animals for stud purposes. So this way, farmers didn't need to keep their own rams. They could just rent Roberts, so they didn't have to invest the time and energy into an animal that was really only contributing to the breeding process. A ewe who can birth one lamb for sure, sometimes multiples, is worth feeding way more than a ram who really only has a use once a year. So one animal produced more animals, making the ewe the more desirable gender to keep. Yay for the farmers, and yay for Robert, who got to introduce his improved breed to everybody's flocks. Robert carefully measured his animals. He tracked what traits passed on to the offspring, especially in other flocks, and he continued to improve his personal herd until eventually they were distinct enough to be their own breed. Hail the improved Leicester, or better yet, the Dishley Leicester, a barrel-shaped animal with long, coarse wool that provided a good yield of high-quality, fatty meat. Let's get this out of the way. I'm all for hobby farms where sheep are kept as pets and only used to harvest wool. But I'm a country girl. Harvesting meat is not only business, it's survival. And so that one animal, the improved Leicester or the Dishley Leicester, could feed a lot more people. So it's important to have a good carcass. I'm fine with it and see the practicality of a good meat sheep. Don't get on me about it. I'm not vegan or vegetarian, and I never will be. When the zombie apocalypse happens, I'll be better set up to survive. Robert firmly believed happy sheep produced better all around, so his animal husbandry techniques were virtually unheard of. He invested in the environment of his farm, irrigating fields, feeding high-quality pasture, and treating his animals in a kind and gentle way. Reportedly, his sheep were happy, calm, and good-natured. How much of that was genetics, a word they didn't even know back then, and how much was treatment was never considered. They just thought Robert was magic. Robert never wrote down his methods, though, and the Dishley Leicester breed has disappeared, so it's impossible to reverse engineer what he did. So, why is Robert Blakely so important to modern sheep? Well, the Dishley Leicester is foundation stock for many, many modern breeds. The name will come up again and again if you explore breeds, so it's critical to know about him and the breed he created, despite the fact that the Dishley Leicester was only a brief blip in history and quickly fell out of favor. See, the Cully brothers, George and Matthew, bought some Dishley Leicesters and took them across the border into Scotland. Then they started their own breeding program. They crossed the Dishley with Teeswater and Cheviot sheep, creating two variations, the Blue Caps and the Red Legs. Many farmers preferred the Red Legs, and they became known as Border Leicesters. I think you might have heard of them. The Cheviot cross is believed to be the foundation for the North Country Cheviot breed. And that Blue Cap cross of a Dishley and a Teeswater, that's the Wensleydale breed. A Wensleydale and a Hill ewe, they make a mashup. Starting to see why Robert and his breeding techniques are so important? All right, so that's 4 breeds from the Dishley. But wait, there's more. The Blue-faced Leicester also came from the Dishley. It was created near Hexham, Northumberland, England, and has also been known as the Hexham Leicester. Now here's where things are going to get a little complicated. Starting with border Leicesters, the red legs from crossbreeding Dishleys in Scotland, well, they took these sheep and they selected for blue faces and fine fleece. By the way, the blue face is actually just dark skin covered by fine white hairs, which gives the appearance of blue. And I am spinning the wrong direction for a while. Let me just fix this up. This happens sometimes. I'm not perfect, nobody is, and sometimes you're just not paying attention and you ply or spin in the wrong direction. You can tell because it makes this mess, but we should be able to rescue it. If I'd been paying attention, I would have noticed sooner. Okay, let's see. So this is all plied correctly. There we go. Now, because we have gone too far that way, we'll probably have to double up the other way to get it to ply correctly. So let's just, there we go. So now we've untwisted, and now we're going to twist. There we go. It is doable. You just need a little bit of time and patience, and you just need to watch your plies. They untwist and retwist. And onto the bobbin. So stuff happens. Don't panic. Just calmly think it through and fix it. Where were we? All right. The blue face is actually dark skin covered by fine white hairs, which gives the appearance of blue. They took these select sheep and crossed them with breeds like Wensleydale. And what they developed was a true dual-purpose sheep, the holy grail of the sheep farmers. BFLs are a huge sheep. The average ram comes in at around 250 pounds. Ewes averaging about 175 pounds. So as a meat sheep, there's really good return. While the wool isn't as fine as a merino, the BFL fleece lands in the 24 to 32 micron range, which most of which is suitable for next to the skin wear. Usually up to 28, 30, in that range is suitable for next to the skin. The fleece is super durable and shiny. Like the shine on a BFL is just gorgeous. Blend it with a silk or a mohair and you get to keep the shine while gaining some elasticity. And while the average fleece is only about 2 to 4 pounds or so, you get a 75 to 85% yield. That's a lot of return on your fleece. Like usually with the merino, you lose 30% right off the bat to lanolin, and that's just to start. Having a 75 to 80% yield is excellent. And with the staple length on average of 3 to 6 inches, that's a lot of high quality usable fleece. So now you have an animal that can feed the family when its fleecing days are done and give you a lot of wool to make your clothes with. Personally, if I were a farmer, these are the kind of sheep that I would want. But what really set the BFL up for success is their ability for multiple births, their good mothering skills, and their excellent milking. And like magic, all of these traits are transferred when a BFL ram is bred to any other breed of ewe. That's right, you rent a BFL ram to breed your flock of unassuming farm sheep, and you get all those benefits just from renting a BFL ram. These offspring are called mules and are the most common kind of commercial sheep. They're often identified by the breed cross, such as a Welsh mule, which would be a BFL ram, to a Welsh mountain ewe. Now, in case you didn't figure it out by now, my favorite sheep is indeed the blue-faced Leicester. I love the handle of the wool, the versatility of the animal, and it comes without the icky feelings about using merino. That's a topic we might get into in the future, but I'm not even getting into the heavy icky feelings of merino sheep. I will say that I have purchased BFL roving that was very coarse and not at all shining, but for the most part, you'll find it beautiful. It has a good hand, and the staple length makes it great for beginning spinners. As you improve, you can also take it down to a fine lace weight when you're ready for that challenge. So as far as I'm concerned, you can't go wrong with blue-faced Leicester. It's my opinion, and you can certainly form your own, but that's how my favorite breed, and maybe yours too, came to be. So that's a brief tale of Robert Bakewell, or BFL sheep, whichever way you want to look at it, who was the father of modern husbandry. I hope you enjoyed a good yarn, and I'll see you next time. Bye!